Hello besties, welcome back to my channel. As you can see today, I'm going through my top 5 series that I have read this year. Now, I've started a bunch of series this year, I've completed a lot, but these are the 5 that have stuck with me. They are my 5-star series and I will take no slander on them, and I will say that they're quite popular ones. I feel like you may have heard of them, but maybe if you haven't started them, this video will give you a push to start them because they really are worth it. I have got 3 fantasy series and 2 romance-ish ones. I think I'm going to start with fantasy. I'm not sure if you can see the t-shirt that I'm wearing, and it kind of gives it a hint for this book series is none other than A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. So these are actually, I'm just going to hold one of them because these are actually the first series or books I've ever read from Sarah, and without a doubt one of the most iconic moments of my reading journey for sure. I think end of 2023 I started reading fantasy. I never really used to read it that much, and I read the Shatter Me series, which just put me into this new world of wanting more than just like your typical romance plot, and these offer it. I actually loved the first book a lot, and a lot of people said that they didn't and it took them a while to get into the series, but no, for me, Sarah had me hooked right from the beginning. I love the characters, I love the world building, the romances that come from this, and I think the found family is also really amazing. I think that's what makes the difference for me between a series that I like and a series that I love is found family. Like, I want to know everyone, I want to see the connections between them, and I definitely got this from this series. I will give a bit of a synopsis for the first book because obviously I don't want to go into too much detail of the others just because I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. So in this one we have our main character Fair, and she is basically taken by this High Lord of the Fae in the fairy realm, and because she killed this wolf that happened to be one of the important faes, so she goes there, she goes to a place called the Spring Court, and she's kind of has to live there for the rest of her life. That is the deal. And she obviously starts building relationships, friendships, and she soon learns that what she has learned about the Fae growing up is not really true. Like, she finds that she loves these people just as much as her own family. And let me tell you, the twists and turns in all of these books, you know, in the Sarah J Maas book, that last 20% is going to have you on the edge of your seat, and it's gonna, oh my word. I will say though, my favourite of this series was A Court of Wings and Ruin. So this one has a lot of action in. There is a build up to a war, and oh, I was in tears at the end of this. If you've read it, you'll know what I was crying about. If you don't, like, just please pick up the series, give it time. And if you aren't a fantasy reader as well, I think this is a really good one to start off with because the world isn't confusing and it's really easy to pick it all up. Well, I found that anyway. Next up, it will come as no shock to you that this is on my list. We currently only have 2 books out. I'm talking dragons, fantasy, powers, all those good things, and you probably can guess. I have the Empyrean series on my top 5 of 2024. I absolutely loved it. I will say I did read Fourth Wing at the end of 2023, but I'm counting it in this because I read Iron Flame at the start of this year, and these 2 books mean the absolute world to me. It's kind of what kicked off my book talk journey and essentially what kicked off this channel. So I'm forever grateful for Rebecca Yarros and her writing and the characters that she created. His Fourth Wing holds such a dear place in my heart, and I'm so excited for Onyx Storm. It comes out on the 21st of January in 2025, and it's 2 days before my birthday as well. So I have pre-ordered it and I cannot wait for it to be delivered, and I want to film a reading vlog for you guys as well. Essentially what we have in this series, we're following our main character Violet Sorrengail, and she's the daughter of the army's like top person. In this realm, you basically you basically go to a war college called Bagziaf, and you either go into different quadrants. So you have got the scribes, you have got dragon riders, you've got the healers, and I can never remember the last one. But they're obviously not that important to the story. So Violet has always assumed that she'll be going into the scribe quadrant just because she has a condition where she's very weak and almost as if her bones are so fragile that they break really easily as well. So she's worked with her dad because he wanted her to go into the scribes as well. However, we learned that her dad sadly passed away recently. So on the day where they go and I've literally sneezed like 4 times. So on the day they go and choose which quadrant they are going to train for, because you don't just get in, you have to train, pass tests, all of those things. She is basically forced by her mother to go and try out for the dragon riders. She basically has this opinion that no one in her family will be anything less than a dragon rider. Do you know what is actually happening? I cannot stop sneezing. And then from there, we are just following her, trying to stay alive. People die, trying to get into the dragon riders, and it's just a really good story. We have got enemies to lovers, and I will say Xaden Riorson in this book is one of my fave fantasy men of all times. He is that dark, morally grey, moody character that we are supposed to hate. However, you just can't, like, you want to think the best in him, and I just hope that he might prove you guys right, and I want to know your opinions as well if you've read this. So that is the Empyrean series done. I will say as well, I loved Iron Flame. It got a lot of stick for not being as good as the first. It was definitely different vibes. We had a lot more action and like war strategy, but the ending of this set it up so well for Onyx Storm coming out, and I'm nervous for it. I'm crying, throwing up, like it's going to be so good. The next book series that I'm putting in my top 5 is going to be The Priory of the Orange Tree. So this is a duology, with the second book being A Day of Fallen Night. So this book actually prequels this one, but it actually does make sense to read The Priory of the Orange Tree first. So this is by Samantha Shannon. I will recommend this once you have read other fantasy books, because it is heavy, it's high fantasy. There is a lot of world building, a lot of POVs. I think we follow like 4 different people, and it doesn't tell you who it is. It basically splits the POVs up into north, west, south and east. So you almost, I think with this one especially, I had to give it 100, 150 pages to get into it. But that doesn't really matter because it is over 800 pages long, and it is a journey. It is a journey. The premise of the story is that many years ago, the dragons kind of ruled. They kind of attacked humans, caused wars. Something happened in the past. The dragons were put to sleep by this like princess warrior. This world in the present day has different opinions on what happened. Like, it's almost as if people talking about the Bible, when people debate if the stories are true, etc., you know, different religions, it's almost as if these people are thinking that same way. So some believe the dragons exist, some believe they don't at all, some believe that they're actually going to wake at some point due to some prophecy. So we're slowly building up, and it's so nice to see all the different POVs come together as well. And it was amazing. By the end of it, I just didn't want to put it down, but luckily I had another 800-page book to read. These were both 5 stars for me. I think it's definitely Marmite. You might love them, you might hate them. But I think if you do like Fourth Wing, read that first, see if it's your vibe. I just really love anything that has a dragon-esque feel to it. It just makes it feel so much more magical, and just, yeah, it's so good. So definitely add these to your TBR if you haven't. They are scary, I know. Loads of people are like, Sophie, I cannot pick that up. They are huge, but they are so worth it, and just give it time. Like, don't feel the need to rush through it. Take your time, because I know once I finished it, I was gutted that it was over. Moving on to our more romancy, non-fantasy book series. So we have 2 left for my top 5, and my 4th lot is going to be the Windy City series by Liz Tomford. This will come as no shock to anyone if you follow me over on TikTok. I'll also put my TikTok here if you want to go and follow. I think I definitely mentioned a couple of these books as well and had them in reading vlogs here on my channel. So if you don't know, this series is a standalone romance series. So each book follows a different couple. They're not really connected, but I do recommend reading them in the order that the author put them in, just because you can get to know a few of the characters before you go into their book, so you almost already have a connection to them. They are sports romance books, and I used to be like, I don't like smut, so I don't want to read sports romance books, but Liz Tomford changed that for me. She changed the whole concept of it, and I adore these characters with my whole heart. The first book I did not like as much. I thought it was slightly cringe, but I still did enjoy it. It was a 4-star. We are following Xander and Stevie in this one. So he is an ice hockey player and then she is his air hostess. So we have that almost secret dating because she's not allowed to date anyone on the team. And he also has this reputation that he has to keep up of being a player. And then we had the right move. This is following Ryan, Shay and Indy. Ryan is a basketball player and he's also the brother of Indy from the first book. You can see where that found family is already coming in, and he basically has to stay in his apartment with his sister's best friend Indy because she has no option to go anywhere else for the foreseeable future. And it's so good. Ryan Shay, as I said before, is the epitome of if he wanted to, he would. He is in my top tier book boyfriends of all time. I think about it a lot. And Indy is also this ray of sunshine, and Ryan is used to this structured life, so she comes in like a whirlwind and kind of takes him off his feet and changes his whole mindset on life. It is so good. It was a 5-star. And then in the third book, Caught Up, we are following Kai and Miller. So this is a single dad babysitting trope. Kai plays for a baseball team and Miller is the daughter of his manager. So she wants to spend some time with her dad as well as have an excuse to almost stick around. So she ends up babysitting for Kai as he's struggling with life as a single dad. So it's so sweet and I love the baby in this. Baby is Max and the relationship is so sweet. He automatically just loves Miller and wants to be around her all the time, and it's so hard knowing that one day she has to move away and she's building this connection with them. It was a really sweet read. And we also get introduced to Isaiah in this, who is in the 4th book, and he is Kai's brother. So it was good to see that as well. This series has the best found family I've ever read. I love them and care about them all. It's like reading about my own family. On to the 4th book. So this is the last one that's out at the minute. There is one more coming, I believe. And this follows Isaiah and Kennedy. Kennedy is the physio for the baseball team. So once again, she cannot date them as part of her contract. And there's also this struggle where she's the only female working within the team. So people kind of look down on her, even though she is more than qualified to be doing that job. And then Isaiah has basically been obsessed with her ever since she started working there. However, she used to be engaged, now isn't. So he finally thinks it's his chance to make his move, and they actually end up getting drunk one day in Las Vegas and getting married. So there's that element. They then have to pretend that they are actually married so one of them doesn't get fired. It's so good. Literally, I cannot express enough. This series is amazing and you just have to read it. And I'm sure those who have read it know that it's really good as well. So my 5th series that I'm adding into my top 5 of 2024. Once again, probably not a shock. This is the Boys of Tommen series by Chloe Walsh. I know a lot of people love this series with their whole heart, and I'm one of those people. Each book has gotten better and better for me. I'm yet to read Taming 7. However, I know that I will love that just as much. That follows Gibbsy. And this story follows the Lynch family, and they have grown up in an awful household. Their father has abused their family their whole life. Their mum is very much of, she still does whatever their dad says. She won't put the kids first, and it's really hard to read about. I love that this series has like 2 books for each couple in a way. So in the first 2, Binding 13 and Keeping 13, we are following Shannon and Johnny. So obviously Shannon has a really tough upbringing and moves to this posh school called Boys of Tommen, where she then meets Johnny Kavanagh. He is the star rugby player. He's set to go and play for Ireland, and he just has big things ahead of him. So obviously he gets wrapped up into this drama and hurt and heartache, and it's the most cutest, like, beautiful thing that you could read. And it's definitely a lot more innocent than the other books moving along. So I think it is a good taster into the darkness of the world as well. And These are long as well. They're all like 700 pages plus. So take your time and get through it and just enjoy being with these characters because it's so good. The next two are following Shannon's brother Joey, love of my life, and his girlfriend Aoife. So they're together almost like throughout the whole thing. We see them at school when they first meet and then becoming friends. It's a slow burn in the first book, but you just know that they are like twin flames. They are meant to be together. And I will say, check trigger warnings for this series. Joey struggles a lot with substance abuse just due to his depression and anxiety from being a caretaker for his younger kids in place of his parents. And it's so heartbreaking to read. I feel like Joey got the absolute brunt of it. He was expected to be strong when he was just a kid in school. It was crazy. But yes, Binding 13, without a doubt, in my top 5, and I just can't wait for more. I know Chloe Walsh has released that she'll be bringing out more books in the series soon, so that'll be really exciting. So there we have it. That was my top 5 book series of 2024. Obviously, we are not at the end of the year, but I wanted to get this out here for those maybe wanting to add books to their Christmas lists or just looking to go book shopping. And I'm trying to convince you to read these because they are worth it. You obviously will have your own opinions, but I personally think that these are all worth the read. I know they're so popular on like BookTok, Bookstagram, but there's a reason for that. The girlies love it and I trust in the girlies' opinion. So thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to give this video a like if you have enjoyed and subscribe if you want to see my face again. I shall see you guys in the next one.